Now let's move on to production budget. So what is a production budget? We are still under functional budget. So the first one that I've explained is the sales budget. Now we move on to production budget. How many units that you want to sell? Now how many units that you need to produce. So production budget is prepared to ensure that the production is sufficient to meet the sales demand and the economic stock levels are maintained. Okay, how do you calculate the production budget? So based on the sales unit just now, how many units that you want to sell? Next, you add your closing stock of your finished goods, less your opening stock of your finished goods, you will arrive at the quantity to be produced. So let's take, for example, why you need to add your closing stock and why you need to minus your opening stock. Okay, let's look at scenario 1 or example 1 first. So how many units that you want to sell? Just now, we have decided that we want to sell 2,000 units. What products that we are producing? For example, we want to sell t-shirts. Okay, so you want to sell 2,000 units. So how many units that you have in stock? I don't have any. I don't have any opening stock from the previous month. Okay, so that will be 0. How many closing stock that I intend to keep? I don't intend to keep any closing stock. So how many units that you want to produce? You want to sell, sorry. How many units that you want to sell? I want to sell 2,000 units. So accordingly, you need to produce 2,000 units. So that is in scenario 1 or example 1 here. Now, let's go into example 2. Okay, into example 2. Okay, still, I want to sell 2,000 units. I want to sell 2,000 units. How many units that I have in stock? For example, from the previous month, there are still some leftovers or the opening stock. That will be the closing stock of the previous month will be the opening stock of this month. Okay, so I have 100. So instead of producing 2,000 units, I have already in stock 100. So I want to sell 2,000 units. I already have in stock, or my opening stock, I have 100 units. Therefore, I just need to produce 1,900 units. I don't have any closing stock. Okay. Now, let's look at example 3. So I want to sell 2,000 units. If I want to sell 2,000 units, how many opening stock that I have? I already have in stock 100. So if I have in stock 100, that means I only need to produce 1,900 units. Okay, but hold on. I want to have a closing stock of 300. So at the end of the period, I want to have 300. So how many units that I need to produce? So the 300 you need to add to your 1,900. That will be 2,200 units. Okay. So I repeat, if you don't have anything opening or closing stock, that means how many units that you need to sell equals to the production. Okay. If you intend to sell 2,000 units, you don't have any opening or closing stock, that will be 2,000 in your production. 2,000 will be needs to be produced. Okay, if you already have opening stock of 100 in this case, then you just need to produce 1,900 units. But then if you intend to have a closing stock of, let's say 300, that means you need to produce 2,200 units. To make it looks nicer, normally you put the add first, then you less. So that will be sales units, add your closing stock, less your opening stock. That's how you prepare your production budget.